Yes, people, welcome back to United View. Welcome to a Flex's View on the road. I've finished TalkSport, I've finished Sky for today. It's been a crazy, crazy day, and it's been a crazy day for transfers because Alejandro Garnacho is coming, let's be honest. According to reports, he's getting ever closer to a move away from Man United to Napoli, man. Potentially Chelsea in there as well. Just seen Crookie up in TalkSport as well. He'd be saying that, yeah, I tell you what, this could happen. This really could happen. There's a lot of reports from Italy claiming that as well. We've seen reports that are saying Alejandro Garnacho has been on the phone to Antonio Conte. Manchester United looking for around about £60 million. And this is splitting opinion across the fan base. It is. It's splitting opinion. Listen, no player's untouchable at Man United. We're 14th in the league or 13th in the league, wherever we are, right? But if we're being honest, yeah, everyone's got their price. And there's two sides of looking at this, right? Alejandro Garnacho has had to play way too much football. Way too much football this early in his Man United career. He has. Let's call a spade a spade. It's very difficult to judge players and their ceiling and their potential and how good and bad they are in the toxicity that is Man United, because it keeps happening. Players keep failing. Now, Garnacho, his squad role should be somebody who comes off the bench. It should be somebody who can impact the game late on or change games, change the dynamic of games when fullbacks are tired. And, you know, you bring on someone like Garnacho who's honest, he runs hard, he gets at defenders, and he can supply goals and assists. That's one side of it. That's probably where he should be at in his career. But up until now, he's been an automatic starter, which I think has basically hampered him from there on out. But if we're being honest, I think the ceiling that we've given Garnacho, or basically the hype that we've given Alejandro Garnacho, I don't always think is at the level of which reflects his ability. I do think that. And that's not, then I think that's basically crossed over to downplaying him too much and acting like he's a scrub. He's not a scrub. He's not an awful player. And he's not a dead player. He's not a dead player. But I think if serious money comes in for Alejandro Garnacho, you have to question, can you get someone in better suited to the system? And can you get money through the door that could finance and kickstart a couple of signings that would make us better off? Now, here's where Ineos come into it, because if they want to make this decision, fine. I wouldn't be devastated if Alejandro Garnacho left the squad. I'd be a little bit disappointed because I could see him having a bright future. And when you think back to the picture of him, Rasmus and Kobe sitting on the wall, effectively, or the advertising boards, you know, that famous picture, you're thinking that's going to be the future of Man United. But things change very, very quickly, and you get rude awakenings in football. I'm not sentimentally tied to that notion, right? But if Ineos want to make this call, they need to be making sure that they can, A, bring in somebody in this transfer window of better quality or the correct quality, and B, they need to make it make sense for this squad. If they don't bring in somebody in this window with that money, then what's the point? You may as well wait till the summer. Don't weaken us, because Marcus Rashford's still looking to go to either Barcelona or Dortmund, or certainly secure a move. There's been briefs that he's going to maybe potentially stay and fight for his place, all of that. But all of that is really just, like, that has to be out there, because he still might stay because of the economic climate surrounding his deal. It's very, very difficult to get him a move with the wages that he's on. We've known that since day dot. But Garnacho, if you let him go, he's a viable option off the bench. You've already let Anthony go, and people can say he's shit, it doesn't really matter, let him go, this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, the fact that you have let Anthony go means that you're another body light. And again, if you're going to let him go and pay him 100 grand a week, or probably over that, because you've probably got to pay over half of his wages for him to go to Betis, if you're gonna subsidise that and not bring anyone else in, we're worse off for it. Do you know what I mean? We're already out of injuries in the front line already, and then we're a couple of injuries away from or bad decisions away from making the team even worse for Ruben Amorim. And then the third thing I want to talk about is, how does Ruben Amorim actually view this? Because, again, in support of the manager, in support of what Ruben wants to do, if he looks at it and says, well, I've got assurances that money for Garnacho will get me something more tailor-made to what I want for this system, in the right profile, you know, don't take that money and go and buy a 31-year-old just because he's better than Garnacho for £50 million. That doesn't make no sense. If Ruben Amorim looks at it and says, I tell you what, with that 60 million, I can go and get player X, I can get player Y. I'll be very happy with that. The profile of what they can, what they've got. Or, you know, another young player from a different league that they're looking who's more suited to that situation, that the left 10, then fine. Because again, we're here to back the manager. We're here to rebuild this squad. And Garnacho, from his perspective, he's probably looking at it like he was one of the main men last year. He was the main guy on the wing last year. Look what Rashford was doing. I get that. Anthony and Sancho weren't there. But he's looking at it like, well, I'm probably not going to fit into this system. I've got the chance to either go to Chelsea, play wide left. I've got the chance to go to Napoli and replace Kvaratskhelia and be the main guy there. So it's very attractive to Garnacho to potentially not be at Man United, where he's going through this transition period. The club's going through a transition period, and he might not feature, or he might not be fancied by Ruben Amorim anyway. So it does depend on the manager. We have to go off Ruben Amorim's sort of feeling on this. Now, I get we have to also go off what happens for PSR and who you're going to sell, and we've got to balance the books, and that's the business side of it. But Ineos have been messing this up since they got in it. So I'm not even fully confident that letting Garnacho go is going to end up in the best situation for us, only because I'm not sure that they're going to bring in the right replacement during this window. If they are, and more importantly, if Ruben Amorim says, you know what, I would prefer to move him on anyway, then unfortunately that's what has to happen. I'd be disappointed, but I wouldn't be devastated. We have to understand that this rebuild, we've asked for ruthlessness, we've asked to tear down this squad and rebuild it, not necessarily at the expense of the young players, though, I will say that. I'm not going to act like I've been in this camp of saying, oh, Garnacho needs to go. We've got far more players that need to go before Garnacho does, but you have to ask yourself this question when you make that statement, right? There are players on paper that need to go before Alejandro Garnacho. I absolutely agree with that. But how many sellable assets do we have that can help us rebuild this squad? We don't sell players well. We don't sell players for more than they're probably worth and pull other teams' pants down. Chelsea, you should be telling them 60, 70 million pounds after what they did with us to Mason Mount. But also, if we want to rebuild this squad, we have to get serious with ourselves and we have to get honest. There potentially could be some collateral in this that you might not have envisaged a year ago. But it's the situation we're in. To raise funds for this squad, of course, there needs to be an injection of cash, an injection from the Glazers and Ineos for the transfer key. We're not going to be in Europe, so that's not going to help us, right? So there's no Champions League football, that's for sure. Where's money? Where are we going to generate money from? We sold an academy graduate in Scott McTominay last year. Probably going to sell Marcus Rashford in the summer. So that's probably back to back, and that's me hypothesizing. And you're probably going to sell Garnacho in this window, it looks like. So they're trying to raise money for the rest of the squad. So if that money can be put back into the squad to get your left wing back, to get a striker, to get a 10 more suited to what's going on, then that's what's going to happen. But Ineos, I'm telling you now, if they, I said it with Saeed just, if they let him go to Chelsea, right, to, you know, I don't really care about the rival thing and all that. If the money's right, the money's right. If it makes sense for us, it makes sense for us. We don't really care what other teams are doing. We ain't going for the title. It's not a direct title challenge. It's not that. We're way off that. But if they let players go or make a call to let Alejandro Garnacho go and we don't see a suitable replacement, we all march down to Knightsbridge headquarters for Ineos, because it's just not acceptable. And that is what needs to change, the decision making. If you're going to make this decision, fine, but stand by it and be effective with the money that we get. Who knows? We still don't know if it's definitely going to happen yet, but that's the latest on Alejandro Garnacho. We'll see how it plays out. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I'll see you guys on the morning show. Take care. I'm out of here. Peace.